we have here, video by a company man. Pizza Hut was once the world's leading pizza chain. They've been losing ground over the years, and this video attempts to explain why. Well, I can explain why the Pizza Hut in Kinston, North Carolina is losing ground. Listen to this video. 1802 West Vernon Avenue.
Of how despicable and loathsome and abominable this Pizza Hut is. In Kinston, North Carolina, 1802 West Vernon Avenue. This is a delivery unit, eat-in unit, carry-out. Now, they are not allowed to deliver east of Queen Street, on any road east of Queen Street, because that's a bad neighborhood. Why in the hell is it then? Last summer, during the Kinston Indians game, there was a delivery driver with the pizza, with the red roof logo on top of his car, stopping by at a house 4 blocks east of Queen Street. Why? From what I'm told from people who know, a lot of the drivers do drug deals on the side. Ever wonder why you order a pizza from Pizza Hut? It takes 1.5, 2 hours to get to you because the drivers, before they deliver the pizza, go do drug deals on the side in the hood. Or sometimes if they can, they'll bring free pizzas to their buddies over there in the hood. Mark Honeycutt, he's the area coach of this place. I remember one time I saw him, as a family was eating, I saw him pat a little child on the ass. A little child, probably about 6 years old, on the ass. Mark Honeycutt. He looks like a bald pedophile. I'd investigate to see if that Mark Honeycutt is a damn child molester pedophile. With the employees who working here with sexually transmitted diseases and registered sex offenders allowed to work here. Maybe the management is getting their hands dirty in this fucking Pizza Hut.
Yeah, my cousin told me there are 3 registered sex offenders when he worked there about 5-8 years ago. John, the manager there, black guy, deals drugs on the side. I've seen him smoke marijuana outside the Pizza Hut door. I know what marijuana smells out like. Keep in mind, I used to work there. I remember back in the days when the Kinston Pizza Hut was a red roof. The Kinston Pizza, that pizza used to be the most delicious pizza ever, and family friendly, and all the young people, good looking girls that used to come into that place. Saturdays, I remember always a birthday party for little kids on Saturdays. Saturday mornings. Oh, I remember that. That place used to be packing out. But let me take you to this video right here. Then I'll come back.
Pizza Hut is what I would consider an iconic American brand. Thinking back, they're kind of like the perfect family restaurant. Honestly, how many of you watching this have these great memories of eating there with your family?
Amen.
You had your birthday party there, or maybe you participated in their Book It reading program where you earned one of those colorful pins, or my favorite, a personal pan pizza. It would sure take a lot to get that pizza, but...
Oh, I hate personal pans. That's one thing. I love the thin crusted Pizza Hut. But I detested pan pizza, and I don't like hand toss. But that thin crust pizza, used to be damn good. Not just good, but damn good.
But it was on another level. I'm sure that many of us have similar memories involving Pizza Hut, which is why it's upsetting to see them like this. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that they're in any immediate danger of shutting.
At your hometown Pizza Hut. I remember that commercial in the 80s. Oh, I remember eating the Kinston Pizza Hut with my mom when I was 4 years old. We both ordered one personal pan that used to fill us up. Yeah, I used to eat. I remember eating it, but
Shutting down.
I used to make personal thin and crispies.
Pizza Hut is still pretty stable, and I'm guessing that they are going to be with us for quite a while. But I do have strong evidence to suggest that Pizza Hut has seen better days. In 2019, they announced that they would be closing 500 of their 7,500 U.S. locations over the...
Man, hon, 500 of closing 500 of the 7,500 locations in the United States of America. Wow, that girl's got some long arms. Well,
the next 2 years, said they would be closing 500. Pizza Hut has seen better days. In 2019, they announced that they would be closing 500 of their 7,500 U.S. locations.
They need to close down the location at Kinston, North Carolina. That place is a drug spot. The employees working there, smoking dope. Waitresses, I saw some waitresses off. They had just gotten off duty, were still in uniform, parked the car on the side, smoking what they called AZ weed. The manager, what was his name? Eddie Greenfield, when it was still a red roof, outside smoking some dope on a smoke break. I could smell the marijuana as I rode past. And child molesters working and people employed with STDs working at that Pizza Hut. They need to close the Kinston, North Carolina Pizza Hut down. And John, imagine him and I, he wanted to fight me when I came by one time. He got so mad at me. And I've seen him smoking marijuana outside.
Over the next 2 years. It's part of their long-term plan that involves closing underperforming restaurants and replacing them. I'll touch more on it later, but for the time being, that is a significant downsizing. In fact, the president of the company, along with other top executives, have expressed that they haven't been happy with Pizza Hut's overall performance. Looking at their sales over the past few years, they have actually been fairly consistent, which may not seem like much of an issue, but it is concerning. See, when we compare...
And let me tell you something, the ambience of the pizza at Kinston, North Carolina, 1802 West Vernon Avenue, is like a shitty sports bar is like that of a shitty sports bar in the ghetto.
Compare that to Domino's, I think we start to see the problem. When they say that no one out-pizzas the Huts, I don't exactly know what that means, but it might not be true anymore. In the 1970s, and even well into the 1980s, anyone who was around at the time can tell you that Pizza Hut used to be the national pizza chain. They were a national pizza chain before there were national pizza chains. People had to make the choice of either going to the local regional place or to Pizza Hut. Any other popular chain that you can think of today was not a factor on a national scale until at least the 1980s. Then, over those next few decades, things got more competitive. Some of those smaller chains started closing the gap, but Pizza Hut still remained on top. That is, until 2018. As we saw in the graph, Domino's took over that #1 spot, and over the next few years have only extended that lead. That's meaningful. After 47 years, the world's #1 pizza chain, Pizza Hut, has fallen to second place, and a distant second at that. In that same year, 2018, I actually asked the audience of this channel, what is your favorite of the big four pizza chains? And after 46,000 votes, Domino's was the clear winner over the second.
Yeah, you should see the Domino's Pizza in Kinston. Booming business. You go to Pizza Villa in Kinston. Booming business. You ride by the Pizza Hut, you can count the number of cars in the parking lot. And that includes the employees and the delivery drivers. And you order a pizza, it takes 1.5 to 2 hours to get to you from Pizza Hut.
Second place, Pizza Hut. I believe further suggesting that people have moved away from them. More evidence would be the fact that their biggest franchisor, NPC International, filed for bankruptcy in July of 2020. They were the ones who operated about 20% of the U.S. Pizza Hut locations.
The Little Caesars in Kinston is doing better, is out-pizzaing the Pizza Hut.
Of course, there were some other factors involved in that one, but it's not a good indicator of the state of the brand. Plus, it later led to an additional 300 restaurant closings. And then, finally, what about the logo change?
When will they ever close the Kinston Pizza Hut down? They need to close that bitch down. Either that or fire everybody and bring in some new employees and new management, the total new crew from somewhere else besides Kinston.
most of their dominant years throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s, this was their logo. Then, in 1999, they changed it. They added more colors and slanted everything.
They got a shitty logo. Yeah. The old... If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. You only make it more broke. Fucking slut.
But then 20 years later, in 2019, they went back to that old logo. According to their chief brand officer at the time, embracing our iconic Pizza Hut logo is recognition of a time period where Pizza Hut unequivocally reigns supreme because that's where the future is headed. I take that to mean...
Because Pizza Hut's seen better days.
That the old logo represents a better time for Pizza Hut, and that bringing it back will remind the customers of those better times. I hope that we can at least agree that Pizza Hut has indeed seen better times. They've lost a lot of control of their market, and in this video, I'm going to attempt...
They need to bring back the damn red roof Pizza Huts. As this new Pizza Hut style is black and white and gray, no colors. This new Pizza Hut building style sucks.
To explain why.
Totally.
The very first Pizza Hut opened in Wichita, Kansas in 1958, and it could not have been more modest in the beginning. It was two brothers named Frank and Dan
I'm gonna show off
They
my
borrowed
pics.
$600 from their mom and used it to buy used equipment and rent out a small building not too far from a university. I thought it was interesting that they called their first restaurant Pizza Hut, mostly because they obtained this sign that had only enough room for so many letters. And of course they wanted to use the word pizza, so that meant that their second word can only be 3 letters. They eventually settled on the word hut, and that was the beginning of the brand. If they had a bigger sign, things may have gone much differently. Early on, they valued quality pizza, good service, and believed in it so much that on their opening night, they gave away their pizzas to try to attract a customer base. It was an effective promotion, the restaurant did well, and after about a year, they were able to convince a friend of theirs to operate the first franchise location in Topeka, Kansas. It's also worth mentioning that part of their marketing early on involved this, I guess, stereotypical mascot named Pizza Pete. I believe that it was meant to double as a fun cartoon for the kids, while promoting the Italian authenticity of their food. Pizza itself wasn't nearly as well known or popular at the time, so something like that was effective. And
keep in mind, I used to work at the Kinston Pizza Hut in North Carolina. I remember we had this cook. The customers were giving him made him mad because he wanted to go home. And they came in, didn't just order a pizza but a sandwich, and he was mad about having to make all that food. He didn't mind having to make him a pizza, but having to he had already put the sandwich out in the cooler, so he had to go back into the cooler, and he was really inconvenienced. And he later told me he wiped his armpits on the sandwich bread buns before making, and when he was in the cooler, came out with a smile on his face, made the sandwich and gave it to him. So those customers got a little bit of armpit juice on their sandwich. I didn't tell on him because snitches get stitches.
Drawing in customers and creating a fun environment. They adopted that red roof logo, started designing their restaurants in the same manner.
Oh my goodness, that brings back good memories. I miss the red roof pizza in Kinston.
And continued franchising more and more locations across the United States and even into other countries like Canada and Germany, and by 1971, Pizza Hut had over 1,000 locations, making them the biggest chain of pizza restaurants in the world. 6 years later, when they had more than doubled to over 2,000 locations, they were bought by PepsiCo, and it was Pepsi that was able to take them to an even higher level, surpassing 5,000 locations in less than a decade after the acquisition, and surpassing 7,500 locations when they spun it off, along with the rest of the restaurant division, into its own company that was owned by the public. If you want more details about their time with Pepsi and what was happening with all of that, I do recommend this other video that I made about Pepsi. But that new company that it was now a part of was initially called Tricon Global Restaurants, but soon renamed to Yum Brands, which is how they exist today. Right now, it consists mainly of KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell, though some people have expressed the opinion that Pizza Hut has been the one holding them back and should be divested. Now, when looking at the reasons behind the trouble happening at Pizza Hut, I think most of it can be explained by 2 main issues. menus. The first one being a lack of catchy menu items, and I realize that this might sound so trivial when you first hear it, but let me explain. Today, seemingly every fast food restaurant has a never-ending sequence of new items that are pumpkin-flavored or Cheeto-flavored or whatever, but Pizza Hut was somewhat of a pioneer at this, to a point where I would even say that these catchy, innovative menu items were once a major part of their success. A couple...
The new menu items of Pizza Hut totally suck. Bring back the cavatinis. Bring back the sandwiches. Your pizza's pasta items are 7 cylinders, 11 donuts short of a dozen. And the pizzas. What the heck? What the fuck did they do to the sauce or cheese? Because a pizza back in the 90s was the best damn tasting pizza. Had a pow to it. But sometime in 2000, early 2000, in the early 2000s, I began to notice that pizzas didn't have that pow to them. They didn't fire on all 8 cylinders. They didn't fire on all 8 cylinders. There were a few donuts short of a dozen. I used to eat pizzas and be so disappointed after I finished in the year 2000 and later, because they didn't deliver like they did back in the 90s and the 80s.
A couple of examples of what I would consider to be more gimmicky ones would be the Edge, with toppings way closer to the edge of the pizza than they should be, or the Big New Yorker, both introduced in the late 1990s. They sold pretty well and kept people coming back to Pizza Hut, but then there's other examples of new menu items that they introduced that I would truly call innovative. Some examples there would be in 1980 when they came out with the pan pizza, or in 1995 when they came out with the stuffed crust pizza, famously promoted by Donald Trump. There are countless examples to show how Pizza Hut once had one of the most creative menus out there, which unfortunately may not be the case anymore. In late 2014, you may be surprised to, which unfortunately may not be the case. That girl with long
arms? Man, she's got some long arms.
In late 2014, you may be surprised to hear this, but Pizza Hut announced an all-new menu. They called it Flavor of Now and described it as their biggest brand evolution ever. I mean, this was meant to be a big deal. They had new ingredients, new sauces, new crust flavors, new...
Oh, no wonder. The new sauce, new cheese sucks.
Drizzles. Just a bold attempt to completely revamp their entire menu to make...
Let me let you read this comment I'm putting in here. The Pizza Hut of Kinston, North Carolina, 1802 West Vernon Avenue, used to be the bomb spot in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, especially the 90s and the 80s. I think they changed their recipe. I worked there from July 17, 1990 to December 6, 1992. They had the best damn pizza ever. So I cannot find the word to describe how delicious with a capital D a pizza used to be until they changed the recipe in 2000. Something about it. I don't know if it was the sauce or the cheese, but they fucked something up. Now pizza lacks that pow. Something about the sauce just ain't firing on all Satan 8 cylinders. Hold on. You son of a bitch. The service here is totally ghetto. This is the video I just played. And so is the ambience. Kind of like a crummy sports bar atmosphere in the hood with employees who don't care and act like they want to fight you if you try to push your point or disagree with them. Now let's go back to the fucking video.
To make it appear fresh and more upper for scale. And to go along with that new menu, they updated their website, the boxes, the uniforms, the logo. I think that the goal of this was to shift their customer base away from families and more specifically toward millennials. I'm gonna go ahead and guess that most of you barely remember this happening, or maybe not at all, because the whole Flavor of Now attempt was pretty much a failure. As we've already seen, it did nothing at all to help their sales. If anything, they actually went down a tiny bit the following year. The CEO of Yum Brands confirmed that the results were disappointing, and as far as I could tell, it's mostly been abandoned. If anything, it probably just alienated their existing customers more than anything else. Overall, this suggests to me that Pizza Hut is not quite what they used to be in introducing new menu items that appeal to their customers.
No, sorry,
I'm just
Bob.
saying that the Bigfoot pizza was a little more successful than the Cockadoodle bacon. That's a weird sentence.
I remember the manager of Pizza back in 1994. We were talking about the Bigfoot pizza. He's like, I remember the pizza instructions were to never refer to the Bigfoot as a cheap pizza. But the manager kid, when it was just us employees, he's like, the Bigfoot is a cheap pizza. It's got cheap crust. I ate a few spots of the Bigfoot, but it was not as good as the original thin and crispy pizzas.
The second part of their troubles, I believe, it can be attributed to being slow to delivery.
Oh my God. 1.5 to 2 hours just to get a fucking pizza delivered.
I don't mean taking over 30 minutes to deliver a pizza so then it's too cold. I mean taking too long to make pizza delivery in general a major part of their business. Here's what I mean. Historically, pizza is like the most common thing to have delivered, right? I mean, now more than ever, but it's been happening for a while. Before 2020, before online shopping, before any of it, people were having pizzas delivered. However, Pizza Hut was once famous for their family-friendly sit-down restaurants.
Pizza
In the beginning of this video, we were thinking back to those memories of birthday parties and personal pan pizzas.
We're being Domino's Pizza
Delivery, by the way,
Delivery
they took
on
place
our way.
inside of a Pizza Hut, not at home eating pizza delivered by Pizza Hut. It was like an event. It was an outing. It was not just about the food. In fact, they didn't even offer pizza delivery at a large scale until 1986, and the only reason they did it then was because Domino's had been so successful with it. You might even say that Pizza Hut's lack of delivery during those times is a big reason that Domino's was even able to get their foot in the door in the first place. I do have to say that after a late start, they have been aggressive with it, but I think the issue is that it's such a fundamental change as far as the public's perception. They've had all of these crazy marketing attempts to try to make people associate Pizza Hut with delivery. In 1989, they famously delivered pizza to the White House. In 2001,
Don't
they
make me
delivered it to
laugh.
outer space. In 2016, they delivered it onto Mount Kilimanjaro. When they closed those 500 locations, the reason for it was to eliminate the dining area and to reopen them as smaller buildings.
Oh my goodness, that reminds me. The Pizza Hut in Goldsboro. The Pizza Hut in Goldsboro, 25 miles away from where I live. Wow, that's good memories there when it was a dining. But they went in and fucked it up and turned it into one of these lame ass sports bar delivery shit places. For fuck's sake, can't we have a Pizza Hut where we can just go in, let our hair down, and eat a fucking pizza and dine in at a table with some good service and refills on our fucking drinks like I used to be? Instead of having to eat and run and get indigestion from the stress of having to eat and run in the car, dropping our pizza all over the fucking floor because we were in a rush. For fuck's sake, bring back the calm, slow dining experience. Or just shut yourselves down, period. Stupid fuckers. Especially them. When were they closed the Pizza down in Kinston, North Carolina?
Their fastest growing store models are the smaller ones that they call Delco, short for delivery and carryout. And part of their reasoning is that if every time you see a Pizza Hut, it's a little tiny building, you're going to reconfigure your mind and associate them with delivery. So to summarize all of this, Pizza Hut is a very different place than it used to be. They've been around for long enough to have the world change around them. Parts of what made them popular before are no longer relevant, and they've been forced to adapt to those changes. Whereas some of their competitors, like Domino's or Little Caesars, first restaurants grew in that new environment, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like Pizza Hut is the older generation struggling to fit in with the new one. Some of their attempts to do it do seem to be a little slower, potentially misguided, but they are attempts. They know where they need to go, they just don't know exactly how to get there, which gives me confidence that they will eventually make progress in the right direction. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about
They
Pizza
got dumbasses
Hut? How have they
running the
changed over the
place.
years, and how has your perception of them changed? Do you even like their pizza?
The people who run Pizza Hut, the CEOs, the upper management, all they care about is the weekend comes so they can go out and get drunk and have sex. They don't want to have to think with their head on their shoulders. They'd rather think about the head on the other end of their body. The head that spits cream. Hell, one time at Pizza Hut, in the early morning, we had a manager of Pizza, assistant manager of Pizza related to this me. He was there, the dough on top of the table. This was back in the red roof days. The dough was soft and warm like a woman. So he hopped on to the prep table with the dough, stuck his dick in the dough, did push-ups on the dough, and his dick spit cream in that dough. So somebody got a little extra creamy treat that day from Pizza Hut.
Pizzas, or do you prefer one of their competitors? I do want to re-ask that poll from 2018 to see if we get different results, so be sure to check the community tab of this channel if you want to weigh in on it or check the results. That should be fun. And any other thoughts you have about Pizza Hut or any other part of the pizza industry, leave them in the comments. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching.
I bet you would.